Big things happening in the next couple of days, and one of those is going to be happening tomorrow night at the Kovalchick Complex. It is the Heritage Conference inaugural championship night presented by S&T Bank. And in the studio with me now, Ray Blystone, athletic director at the West Shamokin High School, Jody Rainey, president of the Heritage Conference, and, of course, the principal at the Homer-Center High School. Gentlemen, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
So you canceled school today, huh? Not you, Jody. You have school today.
We have school today. I wasn't sure about that this morning, but on the way back up, the roads are clear. So I'll give a shout-out to Center Township and Homer City Borough. Did a nice job of getting it opened up for us.
They certainly did. West Shamokin does not have school today. However, your teams are going to be able to make it onto the court at the KCAC tonight, huh?
We will be there to practice this evening and probably practice at school before we come. So
Yeah.
we're excited and ready.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Your two schools are the ones matching up in the Heritage Conference Girls Championship. 6 o'clock tip-off tomorrow night. They had such a classic game at Homer-Center earlier, the buzzer beater that the Wildcats won, and that's the only blemish on the West Shamokin record this season in Heritage Conference play. These are two pretty good basketball teams, aren't they? And I'm sure each is looking forward to playing the other.
Well, we were looking forward to it, absolutely. West Shamokin being their first year in our conference, but also knowing, they traditionally are very tough, and so it's a good measuring stick for us. It's a opportunity for our school to bring home another Heritage Conference championship. We know it's not going to be easy, and our girls are going to be up for the challenge.
Yeah, and West Shamokin, of course, brand new to the conference.
Well, we're excited to be in the conference, first of all, and then just adding all this excitement and the semifinal game with the championship being held here tomorrow night. We're certainly prepared and ready to go. I think this rivalry started last year when we came down to Homer and played an exhibition game when we were still a part of the WPIAL and lost on Homer's court. We came back again this year, and just like you said, that game was an epic night, but we fell a little bit short. So our kids are really excited about having another crack to play them, and then to play them on this stage is going to be pretty special, I think.
Well, let's talk about that, because both of you heavily involved in making this all happen. This was not an easy thing to put together, but it takes cooperation from all around, from within the conference and from outside the conference and with the Kovalchick Complex. Jody, spend a little time talking about how this came to be at the KCAC tomorrow night.
Well, when we had 9 teams and we knew West Shamokin was very serious about coming, and we had the 10 teams, I had a conversation with Colin Stokes and Mike Worthington from United. Mike is the vice president, Colin's our secretary-treasurer, about two things we were trying to accomplish. One was the dividing into section play. We felt gave our teams an opportunity to go out and pick up independent games that was better for their schools. In the past, our conference pretty much filled our schedules and gave us no flexibility. The second part of that, though, is also if you have a team that would slip early in the season, it gives them a chance to come back and fight for this and things of that nature for the championship. So we had talked a little bit about, where would be a good venue to hold this, and then West Shamokin joined, and Ray has a lot of connections at the KCAC and with their staff, and so it was kind of the concept of us having a championship kind of format playoff that we were desiring. And the final piece of the puzzle was West Shamokin joining, and then Ray with his contacts at the KCAC.
Ray, talk about that a little bit.
Well, Jody and myself and Cullen did a lot of discussion early about where we could have this type of event, and we all agreed that there's only one place in the area where that was suitable for it, and that was the KCAC. So, working with having some preliminary conversations with Steve Roach over at IUP and having the athletic department's full support on this, that hey, they thought this was a great idea, this is great for high school athletics in the county. We were able to get in and make some contacts with not only Steve but Marianne at the KCAC, Andrew at the KCAC, and they were very supportive from day one. How can we make this happen? What can we do to make it happen? And thought it was a great idea. And so it's really been a team effort from not only the athletic directors and principals in the Heritage Conference, but all those people at IUP helping us as well. So it's really come together, and we're hoping for a big night tomorrow night.
And on top of being something that will help these teams all prepare for the District 6 playoffs, it is a chance to get on a college court, and you're not going to find a better college court anywhere than you're going to find at the Kovalchick Complex. What an atmosphere! What a treat it must be for these kids tomorrow night to be able to step out onto that floor.
I don't think anyone, including Ray and myself, have any concept of how big this will be tomorrow night. Mary Ann is our liaison at IUP, and she's been fantastic. I think the atmosphere tomorrow at this game will be better than any atmosphere that these kids would experience at a district championship game, at a state playoff game. And what we're trying to accomplish is, we believe the Heritage Conference, to our knowledge, we're the first conference to focus on three things, and that's academics, athletics, and activities. We believe that we're unique in that way. We believe that makes our conference a premier conference because, where else, tell me another league where you can be the best math student in your school and be recognized as an all-conference math, student. Or if you're in the arts and you're in the band, where else can you be the best tuba player and be all-conference? Nowhere. And so tomorrow night, what I'm hoping for personally is two things. I'm hoping that this puts the Heritage Conference on the footing in which I think we deserve to be on, and that is as the premier conference, not only in District 6, but also, in my opinion, the state. Every league has teams that struggle from time to time, but overall, for all students, I don't think there's a better conference than the Heritage Conference. Second thing is we are bringing back some of the founding fathers of the Heritage Conference. I think it's just going to be a nice touch. I really hope that we show them that we appreciate all the work and effort they put in finding the conference and beginning the conference. And I want them to sit back and just realize that I hope it's something that they couldn't even envision possible tomorrow night.
Tell me some of those names.
I know coming back, for me personally, on a personal note, because I was a basketball coach and a teacher at Purchase Line when the conference began, Stanley Bem and Jim Clapp, the principal and AD, they'll be there tomorrow night. John Bomboy, who was the secretary-treasurer when I became a principal from Marion Center, the athletic director, he'll be there. Joe Rora from Laurel Valley was the AD. Joe will be there tomorrow night.
My old algebra teacher.
Well, you must have done something right. If you and Greg Page if he taught you two, he must have been one heck of a guy.
Well, Jerry Page was my other algebra teacher.
And then, from United, little known fact, I did coach one season of track at United in the early 90s under Bill Lichtenfels, but Bill Wilt and Harold Hickson will plan on being there tomorrow night. And I know Tim Hasselhoff was the principal at Blairsville, and Rick Lohman, the AD, will be there, and Jim Berkey, who was the AD at Salzburg, also plans to be there tomorrow night. So we're going to bring them on the floor prior to the girls' game and acknowledge them and just thank them for having this vision and for leaving us something that we hope that we've taken the ball and carried forward and makes them proud.
Well, that's one of the aspects of tomorrow night that is really exciting, is that you have 4 teams from 4 different schools on the floor, and they're going to bring their fans. But really, this is a celebration of the entire conference and the entire area in terms of high school basketball. The quality of the basketball games is something. But then when you get to District 6 playoffs, all of the Indiana County teams, Armstrong County teams as well, Northern Cambria, all of those teams come together and they all root for each other. And that should really be the case tomorrow night. We should have representation from every school district in the area because this is going to be such a spectacular event.
Well, I think that's our hope, and I really think our dream is to have every school. So if you're not playing in this game tomorrow night, your team should still be here. You should still have representatives here to say to your kids, not only your senior high, your JV and varsity kids, but your junior high and your elementary programs, that 4 or 5 years from now, you will have an opportunity to play in the KCAC for the Heritage Conference Championships every year from this year forward. So it should excite fan bases. It should excite school districts. It should excite booster clubs, to get their kids and to get potential players and future players out here, so that one day they may have the opportunity.
Yeah.
It may be next year, it might be 10 years down the road, but they're going to have an opportunity to play in this game down the road.
And there's a little subtle thing in there as well. This could be something that convinces the Kovalchick complex to be, very aggressive in attracting more high school tournament games out of District 6 right here into Indiana County. Our teams, they've done so very, very well over the years, but most of that's been, as we say, over the mountain. And if you guys are going to Penns Valley for your boys game, you're over a couple of mountains.
Yes. Yeah.
But we would love to make this a showcase for not only the Heritage Conference, but for this area. And so folks from everywhere across the district and into the PIAA, they see, boy, this is something that Indiana County's put something together here.
Well, and I think, too, obviously S&T Bank being our title sponsor, but we also have, silver sponsors and other level sponsors that have contributed. And I wish I'd had that list here because I'd love to give them all a shout out. So, but we will obviously be acknowledging them and recognizing, and promoting them and their organizations and businesses. The thing that makes me really happy is that we do have businesses in Indiana County and in the conference, Armstrong, Westmoreland, Northern Cambria areas that, support their school, their students, and overall support the Heritage Conference. And, for $5, it's $5 a ticket. You're going to get two fantastic basketball games in an atmosphere that will be unbelievable. So, like I said, I'd love to see us pack that KCAC tomorrow night. And, and I agree with Ray. I think, as a former basketball coach, I would want my team to be there because I want them to know this is what we're working for. And I think that this now also makes winning that Heritage Conference championship, as special as winning any other championship that they would win.
Absolutely. Box office will open at the Kovalchick Complex 10 o'clock this morning, just a few minutes from now. Tomorrow at 10 o'clock and right up to game time as well. Get your tickets there.
Yep. Gates open at 5 o'clock to let the fans in tomorrow night, too. So 5 o'clock tomorrow, gates will open, and they can buy their ticket at the door or at the box office, that's for sure.
From a broadcast standpoint, 92.5 FM, U92 for both games tomorrow, MSAsports.net. Of course, the U92 website, U92radio.com. And in that first game featuring Homer-Center and West Shamokin, a simulcast here on AM 1160 WCCS and 101.1 FM. Gentlemen, this is going to be a fun night, and it's going to be really, really interesting for you guys to get together in the aftermath and say, this really was something we did great, and this is something we really want to hold on to, and we can just mold it a little bit better and find out after that initial year, that's when you start to really say to yourself, wow, we have something here.
Well, Todd, and, thank you, too, because I know you broadcast not only Homer-Center games, but you broadcast many games for the Heritage Conference, and you do a great job of promoting the conference and our students, and it is much appreciated.
My pleasure. My pleasure.
Well, I'd like to reiterate those words. And, without our sponsors, without Renda Broadcasting, this would be a really tough task to pull off. So we do appreciate having, all the support from here and from around the town.
Terrific. Gentlemen, let's make it last a long, long time. Thanks so much for coming in.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Todd.
Thank
Ray
you.
Blystone, Jody Rainey, the Heritage Conference Championship happening tomorrow night at the Kovalchick Complex. Doors open at 5, games at 6, and probably around 8. Now, of course, there will be things happening, so we'll keep flexible on that. But we want to thank Ray and Jody for coming in this morning. I want to thank you for joining us today as well. Tomorrow on the program, Bob Pollock will be with us from the Extension Service, and you can ask him your questions about lawns and gardens and trees and all those things that are buried right now under snow. Nate Bowen from the Altoona Curve will visit with us. They've got the National Anthem Contest coming up this weekend, and we're going to actually have some Homer-Center players with us in the studio in the 9 o'clock hour, and maybe see if we can get some players from some of those other schools involved in the championship as well. That's all tomorrow, and it's all here on Indiana in the Morning on AM 1160 WCCS and 101.1 FM. Safe day today, okay, folks? Boys and girls, be careful on the roadways. Get the snows shoveled, but don't overexert yourself. It's 9:58. The Kilmeade Show up next.